Hey, welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about, this is a comment from Damian Jones, and he says, absolutely, this is where I am now. This is from a video that was, we were talking about building confidence. So specifically about building confidence after you've stopped drinking, in terms of getting to that new person you want to be, feeling comfortable with yourself, that lived in experience of, not really caring about alcohol anymore, and taking the time and having the confidence to be able to direct your mind where you want it to go instead of it being pulled with alcohol. So he says, absolutely, this is where I am now. After trying to quit repeatedly over the last few years, I have a plan for my future now, and it gives me a lot of hope for mine and my family's future together. Okay. Like I said, this is in reply to a video that we were talking about building confidence, building self-belief without alcohol. And I think it's this is a part of the process where you have a choice where to direct your mind, even when you're getting rid of, you're thinking about stopping drinking. And it can be the testing time, the most testing time. I mean, there's, I think, where you're contemplating stopping, and then when you're actually preparing to stop. Now, in our preparation program, the focus is always on trying to set your mind up in the right way for day one. So when you step across that line, you're confident enough, you're excited enough, you've got enough hope inside you, right, to combat the doubt. There is going to be doubt. There is going to be a lack of confidence in certain areas of your life. There is going to be, because it's an ambiguous time, because there is an internal conflict, because that habit has been there for a long time, and you're trying to get rid of the established way of doing things, that will bring a certain anxiety or fear. And what we're trying to do is a lot of this fear is in your head. It's not real, right? It's fear of the discomfort and how far that discomfort will go. It's fear of the person that you're going to be, or where you're going to be, or how you're going to solve different problems, or not being able to run down your rabbit hole anymore. That kind of fear. So we try and solve that fear, those fears, before we step across that line first. And if we can do that, then you can enjoy the process in spite of the doubts, right? So that's what we're trying to do. So like I said, you have a choice of where to direct your mind. You can turn up the volume on that stress, on that anxiety, on that fear, or you can turn up the volume on your confidence and say, look, I'm confident of this because I want what's on the other side of the discomfort. I want I want to open up that potential for myself. I want to open up opportunities for myself that are not there now. And if you want to see the opportunities that are not there now for you, all you have to do is look at your recent past and look at the things that alcohol has stopped you from doing. Everyone comes here for a different reason, some very similar reasons, but very specific reasons in that person's life, because it's in their context, right? It's in their life, it's in their experiences with their families, with their friends and their colleagues. And everybody can see in their own lives, once you open your eyes to it, how many things that you regret not doing, how many things that the alcohol has stopped you from doing, or your drinking of the alcohol has stopped you from doing. The behavior, the consistency of that behavior over time. So we don't have to search far and wide for motivations to stop. The problem is that when you get to a certain stage in the journey without the alcohol, the pain motivation is the thing of missing out on those things. That will disappear. All that, the discomfort that has made you, got you to make that choice. Once you are not feeling discomfort in your life anymore, that motivation will disappear along with it. So we're trying to also, at the same time, as part of the program, to get you moving forwards and to get you to build alternative and much stronger, more concrete motivations that will not only help you to get to the next day, but will build so that by the time you get to that 6 months, 7 months, the first year, you're solid. There's nothing that's going to take you back. So, when you talk about after trying to quit repeatedly over the past few years, a lot of people go through this same thing. And the reason is because sometimes you have to give yourself enough comparisons. And I'm talking about not comparing yourself with other people and going, look at how their life is. That helps, right? To come online and to see people like me who've done it for a long time, or to read comments of people who have done it for a long time. To see your friends doing it, to see other people. Everyone knows somebody who doesn't drink or has stopped drinking. But to compare yourself with yourself, and to, that's one of the best things that you can do, is to say to yourself, look, this is where I am now without alcohol. This is where I want to be. How do I compare those two things? And then when you step across the line and you haven't had alcohol for a long time, even for a short time, you haven't had alcohol for a few days, you can start making comparisons. How am I getting up in the morning? How is this now feeling in comparison? A month later, how is this feeling? I'm getting up every morning now. I'm sleeping well. I don't feel tired. I feel like my mind is clearer. I feel like my skin is clearer. I feel like, a lot of the things that forced me to step over the line in the first place are starting to resolve themselves. And those comparisons are good, but sometimes you need more and more. So sometimes you need to have the comparison and then, fall off. I'm not suggesting that people do this, but hopefully it gives you, I think sometimes it's only your personal experience that makes things powerful enough, because I can say to you, look, a month is going to go by very quickly. A year will go by quickly. If you're old enough to understand what I'm talking about, you're old enough to, you understand what I'm talking about. That a year goes by, gone. Christmas is here, and then it's like, where did that go? So it is what it is, right? It's if you can learn from that experience of, if I'd have stopped this time last year, where would I be now? It's like I said, there are easy comparisons to make, because you know what you've done in that year. You know what you could have done in that year, more or less. So, and then you talk about your family and your future. And I think that's, it's so important. I think the more you focus on your future, especially, and how your family are integrated into that future, I think the better you will be, the more sustainable this will be for you, because you're not only thinking about yourself, you're not only thinking about success or failure is not how you stop drinking alcohol, it's what you do after. It's that's going to pull you forwards rather than something that's pushing you from behind. Like I said, that stopping drinking alcohol, the motivation from that doesn't last long, because as soon as you are outside of those immediate consequences, the motivation disappears. So you need something that's pulling you forwards. So that's my point, is, focus yourself on what you're going to do, who you want to be, where you want to be. Focus on, it's kind of helpful to look at 5 years, but if you can't do that, look at a year. Where do you want to be at the end of that first year without alcohol? And then pull yourself back to 6 months. Where do you want to be after 6 months? Then pull yourself back to a month. Where do you want to be? What do you want to have done? Who do you want to be after 6 months? And then maybe go for a week. I don't recommend a day. I mean, we take this a day at a time anyway. But as a goal, something to focus on. I think a week is a good milestone to aim towards, because you can achieve something significant in a week. You can really change. A week without alcohol can change your mind in so many different ways, can change the way that you look at yourself and your life in so many different ways. Not hugely, but it's in enough small ways, you add those weeks together and you've got something big then. So, and have patience with it. The goal is to have those big goals, to have those things that you want to get to, the things that you know that you were missing out on in the past, and then to break those down and just be patient with the next step. Don't be looking too far ahead. And if you slip on the road, then all you have to do is go back one step and move forwards from there. Self-belief always comes in small bites. It adds up in small bites. Those little bites of achievement give you self-confidence, self-belief. And those little bits of self-belief add up into big mountains later on, especially when you're dealing with things like the drinker's mind. When you're starting out with something that is so, it's so impressive how habits work and how they stick and how it will keep firing back at you, that wiring that's there, that the constant thinking about it, the way that one thing leads to another. I mean, I have to, every time I read a book about habits or about the mind in that sense, I'm impressed. So that's what you're overcoming, but it's easy to overcome them once you know what you're doing. And mostly it comes down to repetition. Repeat something over and over again, it will become a habit. Simple as that. And the way to reverse that is just not to repeat it. Think about alcohol as the fuel for the habit. And once you starve the habit of its fuel, it will go out. It takes a while, but it will go out. It will no longer be something that is in your mind. I used to always think of my habit as the Gollum from The Lord of the Rings. My precious. And the more I think about habit from that sense, that's what it is like, because the more you deny it its fuel, the more it turns into that pathetic thing, the more that you can hear that voice in your head of, go and have a drink. That won't matter. The more you hear that voice as the Golem, or whatever you choose. But that's how I saw it in my head, was as the Golem. And then eventually it just becomes, you realize what it is. So, but I like that quote. I think it was just a very positive quote from Damien. I wish you all the very best. I love it when somebody talks about themselves and hope for the families in the future. And especially somebody who has tried before and is not willing to give up, because not only because of themselves, but because of their families. That their families deserve more. For me, my son was the one that got me over that line and to really start thinking about stopping. And my family has been my rock in, it sounds trite when you say it like that. It's so cliched nowadays, but they really are the solid thing that holds me moving forwards, is spending time with my family, having my family hold me in better esteem as well, rather than the person that I used to be. Means a lot. Take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Onwards and upwards. Keep the alcohol out of your mouth. Take care.